Welcome back to the channel. Everyone, today, we are breaking down a monumental, industry-altering shift in the sports apparel ecosystem, a story that is currently sending absolute shockwaves to the interconnected worlds of professional tennis, global marketing, high fashion, and corporate finance. If you thought the historic sneaker wars or the massive celebrity athletic endorsements of the past decade were the absolute peak of sports commerce, you need to sit down and hear exactly what just unfolded overnight across Europe. As we navigate through the spring of 2026, the intersection of sports, fashion, and digital commerce has never been more lucrative. But what happened over the last 48 hours has completely rewritten the entire industry playbook. We are talking about retail numbers that have literally broken the internet, crashed global servers, and completely shattered the quarterly sales projections for one of the most powerful, recognizable brands on the face of the planet. Nike's sales revenue has just skyrocketed to entirely unprecedented astronomical levels, and it is all thanks to the highly anticipated, intensely secretive brand new merchandise collection from none other than Filipino tennis sensation, Eala. That is right. The 19-year-old rising star of the Women's Tennis Association Tour has just definitively proven that she is not only a formidable, relentless, and tactical force on the baseline, but she is an absolute titan in the global retail space. We are looking at a modern commercial phenomenon that completely redefines the market value of a young female athlete. Just a few hours ago, Eala's exclusive, heavily teased custom apparel line, which has been beautifully and thoughtfully dubbed the Scarcity collection, officially went live across Nike's European digital storefronts and a select few flagship retail locations in major cities like Paris, London, and Berlin. The strategic timing orchestrated by Nike executives was impeccable, perfectly aligning with her high-profile appearances at the Linz Open and serving as the ultimate prelude to the crucial lead-up to the prestigious Stuttgart Open. But nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, sitting at Nike's global headquarters in Oregon could have accurately predicted the sheer, overwhelming magnitude of what was about to unfold within 60 seconds. Let me repeat that fact so it really sinks in, because we are talking about a time frame that defies modern retail logic. Within 1 single minute of the collection dropping online, the entire digital inventory allocated for the massive European market was completely wiped out, sold out, gone. The corporate servers reportedly struggled and briefly failed as they attempted to keep up with the overwhelming surge of web traffic. This digital stampede was primarily driven by a massive, highly enthusiastic influx of European consumers, passionate hardcore tennis fans, fashion-forward Gen Z buyers, and a highly mobilized global Filipino diaspora that showed up in record-breaking numbers to unconditionally support their homegrown hero. We are seeing verified, heavily scrutinized reports of sudden revenue spikes in retail engagement metrics that are traditionally reserved for the absolute titans of industry, the likes of Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, or LeBron James during their absolute prime championship runs. But this is Eala, a teenager who is currently actively carving out her path on the incredibly grueling professional tennis circuit, yet she is effortlessly commanding the exact kind of purchasing power that corporate executives usually only dream of capturing. Why is this specific retail event so incredibly significant? Because it completely, fundamentally redefines a modern female athlete's marketability and global reach. Eala has brilliantly transcended the traditional boundaries of regional or national popularity by launching this specific collection in Europe, a fiercely competitive, highly saturated apparel market that is historically dominated by legacy European luxury brands and deeply established local athletic champions. Nike took a highly calculated, multi-million-dollar corporate risk, and it has clearly, undeniably paid off, generating billions of social media impressions and millions upon millions of dollars in immediate, tangible revenue. The Scarcity collection, which is so thoughtfully named after the national flower of the Philippines, beautifully weaves Eala's rich cultural heritage with top-tier, cutting-edge high-performance athletic wear. It is an absolute masterclass in narrative storytelling through fabric, and the European market has absolutely devoured it. Even fellow players on the WTA Tour, including top-tier Grand Slam champions like Aryna Sabalenka, have been openly and publicly reacting to the absolute frenzy this merchandise launch has created, expressing genuine shock at the speed of the sellout. We actually heard Eala herself briefly tease the secret project recently while appearing as a guest on Jessica Pegula's popular podcast, But the current reality of this explosive launch has eclipsed even the wildest, most optimistic hype generated from that interview. The global sport economy is shifting rapidly beneath our feet, and with women's sports recognized by major financial institutions as the fastest-growing segment in the industry, Eala currently stands as the undisputed face of that explosive economic growth. This is about a monumental cultural crossover, proving that women athletes bringing rich, diverse cultural narratives to the global stage are driving undeniable economic impact. So, how do we arrive at this historic moment? Let us transition into the full breakdown. To truly understand the immense gravity and the exact mechanics of this historic Nike revenue explosion, we have to dive deep into the remarkable, multi-layered journey of Eala herself, and the brilliant corporate strategy that capitalized on her unique global positioning. Born in Quezon City, in the Philippines, Eala was identified as a generational, once-in-a-lifetime tennis talent very early on. She did not just casually play the junior circuit. She systematically dismantled it. But the most crucial detail for understanding her current, unparalleled marketability in Europe is her developmental background. By the time she was a young teenager, Eala had relocated across the globe to Manacor, Spain, to train full-time at the highly prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy. This is a foundational key to unlocking this European retail mystery. Eala spent her most formative, critical developmental years deeply embedded in European tennis culture. She trained on European clay. She competed in European junior tournaments, and she absorbed the tactical nuances of a European game. She was not viewed merely as a visiting international player. She became a familiar, highly respected, and deeply ingrained fixture on the European courts. When she captured her historic junior Grand Slam titles, including her monumental singles victory at the U.S. Open and her brilliant doubles titles at the French Open, she accomplished something incredibly rare. She did not just permanently put the Philippines on a global tennis map. She simultaneously solidified a massive, loyal, and incredibly vocal following across the European continent, particularly in tennis strongholds like Spain and France. The marketing executives at Nike are incredibly astute, highly analytical professionals. When evaluating their roster, they clearly recognize that Eala possesses a highly unique, incredibly rare dual hemisphere appeal. She is an absolute, unquestionable icon in Asia, proudly carrying the hopes, dreams, and immense national pride of over 100 million Filipinos, but she is also intimately, authentically connected to the European tennis establishment. She bridges two massive global markets seamlessly, without any forced corporate manufacturing. When we carefully analyze the specific, calculated strategic rollout of the Sampaguita collection, we are looking at a masterstroke of geographical, cultural, and tempo targeting. Why choose to launch this highly anticipated collection specifically in Europe? And why do it right now in April of 2026? The timing coincides brilliantly with the heart of the European indoor hardcourt and the highly anticipated transition into the grueling clay court swing. The Linz Open in Austria, where Eala has been actively competing, provided the perfect, highly visible, and highly relevant backdrop for this retail drop. Tennis fans across the continent are currently hyper-engaged, tuning in daily to watch the world's absolute best players compete as they build momentum toward Roland Garros. Nike flawlessly leveraged this heightened state of consumer attention by dropping the collection right as Eala was making her media rounds, stepping onto practice courts, and dominating the European sports news cycle. But let us be completely clear. The marketing strategy only works if the product itself is exceptional and the physical merchandise is the real star of this financial triumph. The Sampaguita, a delicate, highly fragrant white flower, is a deeply symbolic emblem in Philippine culture. It represents purity, simplicity, profound humility, and an immense, enduring inner strength. Nike's elite design team brilliantly and respectfully translated these core cultural themes into a highly sophisticated, premium line of athletic wear. We are talking about stunning, minimalist designs featuring subtle, intricate floral embossing. The collection utilizes advanced, highly breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics that appeal equally to the serious, high-performance athlete and the fashion-conscious, everyday streetwear consumer. The collection successfully bridged the often difficult, highly nuanced gap between functional court gear and premium, high-end athleisure. The color palette was a massive departure from the norm, utilizing soft, elegant whites, muted, earthy greens, and striking, elegant gold accents. It stood in stark, refreshing contrast to the loud, aggressive neon colors that have heavily dominated tennis fashion in recent years. It offered European markets something genuinely fresh, undeniably elegant, and deeply culturally significant. This brings us directly to the rapidly changing demographics of the global tennis fan base and the massive evolution of the sports consumer. We have to look at the hard financial data. Bank of America recently released a massive, comprehensive analysis of the modern sport economy, and they pointed out a massive, undeniable influx of what they term smart money flowing directly and heavily into women's professional sports. Corporate sponsors, institutional investors, and massive global brands are finally, definitively waking up to reality that female athletes consistently boast significantly higher, more authentic engagement rates on social media platforms compared to their male counterparts. Their audiences are fiercely loyal, deeply invested in the athlete's personal off-court journey, and incredibly motivated to purchase the exact products that their favorite stars wear, endorse, and help design. Eala represents the absolute pinnacle, the absolute perfect manifestation of this new consumer dynamic. She is a true Gen Z athlete who communicates directly, honestly, and authentically with her millions of followers. When she appeared on Jessica Pegula's incredibly popular tennis podcast just days prior to the launch, she spoke candidly and passionately about the intense design process. She detailed her intense desire to genuinely honor her Filipino roots, and she revealed the sheer amount of hands-on work she put into collaborating directly with Nike's design team. She did not just blindly slap her signature on generic, pre-made product. She co-created a powerful narrative. And in modern retail, narrative is the ultimate, most valuable currency. Let us break down the actual technical financial mechanics of a 60-second digital sellout, because this is where the revenue skyrocketing truly occurs and where the business world pays closest attention. Nike masterfully utilized a highly aggressive marketing tactic known as scarcity modeling. This is a strategy heavily perfected, tested, and refined in the hyper-competitive sneakerhead community, particularly with highly coveted, limited edition Air Jordan drops. By heavily hyping the Sampaguita collection for weeks, dropping subtle visual hints, but strictly limiting the initial production run allocated for the European digital storefronts, Nike deliberately created an atmosphere of absolute, undeniable urgency. Consumers knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that if they hesitated for even a fraction of a moment, they would miss out entirely. This intense FOMO, the fear of missing out, drove an unprecedented, overwhelming tsunami of web traffic to Nike's European servers the exact second the digital clock struck the launch hour. But it was not just individual fans casually buying a single t-shirt. The analytics are showing massive, unprecedented basket sizes. Consumers were frantically purchasing the entire integrated look. The custom-engineered Vapor Pro 3 shoes featuring the Sampaguita motif, the lightweight woven warm-up jackets, the performance skirts, and accessories, all bundled in a single, panicked, high-speed checkout process. This dramatically, exponentially increased the average order value, which directly resulted in the massive, vertical revenue spike that currently has Wall Street retail analysts completely recalibrating their projections for Nike's quarterly earnings in the European sector. Furthermore, we must closely examine the powerful, exponential ripple effect this single event has caused within the professional tennis community itself. When players at the absolute top of the sport, like world-renowned champion Aryna Sabalenka, are publicly taken to social media to express their absolute shock and genuine awe at how fast Eala's collection sold out, it generates secondary and tertiary waves of free, highly credible organic marketing. It instantly becomes a dominant, inescapable conversation in the player locker rooms, in the global press conference halls, and across every single major tennis forum on the internet. Suddenly, casual fans who perhaps did not follow Eala's junior career closely are immediately looking her up, discovering her incredible backstory, and actively searching for the sold-out merchandise on secondary resale markets. And let me tell you, on platforms like StockX and other premium resale sites, the prices of the Sampaguita collection have reportedly already surged to 3, 4, and sometimes 5 times their original retail value. This level of intense, sustained hype definitively elevates Eala from a rising tennis star to certified, undeniable global pop culture phenomenon. From a strict corporate and boardroom perspective, this is a monumental, highly necessary victory for Nike. They are a brand that has been actively, sometimes desperately, searching for its next generation of long-term, highly marketable global ambassadors. With absolute legends like Serena Williams retiring and stepping away from the sport, the massive, highly lucrative vacuum in the women's tennis apparel market was sitting wide open, waiting to be claimed. Fierce competitors like Adidas, Asics, and the rapidly growing, highly disruptive On Running brand, which heavily and successfully features world number one IGA Swiatek, have been aggressively battling for market share. Nike needed a definitive, crushing, undeniable victory to assert their continued dominance and relevance in the sport of tennis. Eala just handed them that exact victory on a silver platter. Her unique ability to instantly, massively monetize her diverse fan base, coupled with her pristine, highly professional, controversy-free image, and her massive ceiling for growth on the actual tennis court, makes her the ultimate, highly prized corporate asset. The revenue generated from this single, isolated European drop is not just a one-time financial windfall. It is a clear, undeniable, highly weaponized proof of concept. It proves, beyond any reasonable doubt, that investing heavily, respectfully, and authentically in diverse, global, female athletes is not merely a charitable corporate diversity initiative. It is a cutthroat, highly lucrative, essential business strategy that yields astronomical, market-beating returns. The geographic and cultural importance of Europe in the specific retail equation simply cannot be overstated. While the United States undoubtedly remains the largest single consumer market for sports apparel globally, Europe is a traditional, historical, beating heartland of tennis. It is a prestigious home of Wimbledon and Roland Garros. It is a highly discerning market that deeply values tradition, refined aesthetics, and high-quality craftsmanship. For a young Asian athlete to step in and absolutely, completely dominate retail sales in this specific, highly critical region is incredibly rare, highly significant, and historically unprecedented. It completely breaks down long-standing, archaic geographical barriers in sports marketing. It proves that a truly compelling, authentic human story, combined with meticulously designed, beautiful product, can effortlessly transcend national borders and resonate universally. Eala's massive commercial success here aggressively paves the way for future athletes from emerging, non-traditional tennis markets to confidently demand larger, more significant, highly lucrative endorsement deals, proving to corporate sponsors that their commercial appeal and their ability to move massive inventory is not limited strictly to their home countries. As we continue to analyze the massive, ongoing fallout from this retail event, we must also seriously consider the psychological and competitive impact this will undoubtedly have on Eala herself as an active competitor. Professional tennis is widely considered one of the most mentally taxing, brutally isolating sports on the planet. Players are constantly, relentlessly battling internal self-doubt, immense pressure from their national federations, and the grueling, unforgiving physical toll of the year-round global tour. To step onto court knowing with absolute certainty that you have the unwavering, fanatic, highly mobilized support of a global consumer base, knowing that you literally crash multinational corporate servers when you release a simple product line, must provide an incredible, impenetrable armor of confidence. When she steps up to the baseline at her upcoming clay court tournaments, she isn't just playing for ranking points or prize money anymore. She is playing as a proven, highly bankable, heavily validated global superstar. This profound shift in status and perception can often translate directly into significantly better on-court performance, as the lingering anxiety of long-term financial security and brand relevance is completely, permanently erased, allowing the athlete to focus purely, entirely on perfection of their craft as we move toward the outro of today's extensive, deep dive coverage. It is absolutely crystal clear that we have just collectively witnessed a defining, watershed moment in the modern history of sports marketing and athletic commerce. The absolute, undeniable explosion of Nike sales revenue following the launch of Eala's Sampaguita collection in Europe is not a fluke. It is not a temporary glitch in the retail matrix, and it is certainly not an isolated, unrepeatable incident. It is a loud, definitive, highly disruptive arrival of a brand new era. We are entering an era where young, dynamic, culturally proud, and digitally native female athletes boldly dictate the terms of global retail and corporate strategy. Eala has definitively proven that the historical formula for commercial supremacy has officially, permanently evolved. It is no longer just about hoisting a Grand Slam trophy. though she undoubtedly, fiercely has her sights set on doing exactly that in the senior professional ranks. Today, massive commercial success is about authentic, unfiltered connection, compelling, deeply personal cultural storytelling, and the sheer, unstoppable power of a mobilized, highly passionate digital community. For the executives at Nike, this unprecedented, record-breaking success is a massive, highly public validation of their shifting, forward-thinking global strategy. By throwing their immense, unparalleled corporate weight completely behind Eala, and crucially, by allowing her unique heritage and personal vision to take absolute center stage in the product design and marketing rollout, they have struck absolute, undeniable gold. This historic 60-second sellout will undoubtedly immediately become a foundational, highly studied case study in sports marketing textbooks, university business courses, and corporate boardrooms for years, if not decades, to come. It sends a chilling, highly intimidating, and clear message to their fierce rivals in the athletic apparel space, including Adidas, Puma, and On Running. The bar for athlete collaborations has just been raised to an astronomical, incredibly difficult height, and the definitive blueprint for the next decade of modern tennis sponsorships has officially been drawn in bold ink. Competing brands will now be scrambling desperately and aggressively looking for the next breakout athlete who can command even a fraction of the raw, undeniable purchasing power that Eala just effortlessly demonstrated on the highly competitive European stage. Looking ahead to the remainder of the 2026 season, the pressure, the media spotlight, and the global expectations placed squarely on Eala's shoulders will be brighter, heavier, and more intense than ever before in her young career. As the grueling European clay court season truly heats up, eventually culminating at the grand, historic stage of Roland Garros in Paris, every single camera lens, every single sports journalist, and every single tennis fan will be focused directly on her. The public will be heavily scrutinizing her every single movement, her every stylish outfit, and her every powerful, heavy topspin ground stroke. But if this historic merchandise launch has taught us anything at all about her character, it is that Eala is not just capable of handling immense, suffocating pressure. She absolutely, definitively thrives in it. She has brilliantly transformed the heavy, often paralyzing weight of an entire nation's massive expectations into a beautiful, highly lucrative, and globally respected athletic empire. The delicate Sampaguita flower may historically represent deep humility and quiet strength, but Eala's massive, undeniable impact on the global sports economy is anything but quiet. She is roaring onto the scene. She is breaking retail records, and the entire financial and sporting world is currently being forced to stop, watch, and listen. Now, I want to turn this massive, fascinating conversation over to you, our incredible, highly engaged viewing audience. Were any of you actually lucky enough or fast enough to manage to secure a piece of the historic, instantly iconic Sampaguita collection before it completely, permanently vanished from Nike's digital shelves? What are your honest, unfiltered thoughts on Eala's incredible meteoric rise, not just as a highly skilled professional tennis player, but as a dominant, completely unstoppable force in global fashion, retail, and cultural representation? Do you firmly believe that this massive wave of commercial momentum and global support will ultimately propel her to capture her very first senior Grand Slam title this current season? Please, drop your detailed thoughts, your boldest theories, and your personal experiences in the comments section down below. We actively read every single one of your comments, and this is a massive, evolving conversation that is truly only just beginning. If you genuinely enjoyed this extensive deep dive analysis and you want to stay completely up to date on the rapidly evolving, high-stakes business of sports, the absolute latest breaking tennis news, and incredibly talented rising stars who are actively shaping the future of global athletics, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And please leave a like on this video to help push this critical coverage out through the algorithm to more sports fans around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your continued, amazing support of the channel. And we will see you back here for the next major breakdown.